My name is Loy Brunson. 16 trillion, and what do you get? Another day older and a deeper in debt. Taxes and interest from shore to shore. The Federal Reserve is the company store. It really is, folks. It really is. Since 1913 and even before, they've been able to create money, but especially since 1913, they have had the power to create unlimited amounts of money, not just to loan to governments and to do credit swaps with 14 other central banks, but they have been able to spend. Now, a real audit will expose, hopefully, the spending as well as the loaning. $1 trillion created by the Federal Reserve has to be owned by someone before it can be loaned. Who owns that trillion? Someone has to own it. Well, if you borrow something from someone, you obviously don't own it. And the person you borrow from is the person that owns it. So who owns the trillions that are being created out of thin air before it's loaned to Congress and loaned to other banks? If we look at the history of the Federal Reserve 1913, the Federal Reserve shareholders owned the system. They owned it. And in theory, until the 70s, they were simply loaning gold and silver that they had on deposit. So they were, in theory, nonprofit, and they had the nonprofit status. But when Nixon and the Congress allowed them to go off the gold and silver standard in the 70s, all Federal Reserve note dollars in existence that had not been redeemed by the Federal Reserve became pure 100% profit. Now, someone is going to expose this in a big global way, and I believe if they don't win a peace prize, they will deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, because this means a windfall and a reduction in our debt like nothing else. We're talking trillions of dollars created and owned by its creators, which are the shareholders of the Federal Reserve. Now, everyone in Washington, D.C. that's a representative, as you know, have either sworn or affirmed an oath to the Constitution. And it isn't necessarily to support the Constitution, but it includes defending the Constitution. In order to defend against enemies, you've got to be able to identify an enemy. We had 2 Black Hawk helicopters that crashed and killed 27 people from enemy fire because the pilots of the aircraft couldn't properly identify an enemy. We've got to understand the enemy. The Federal Reserve shareholders have been buying protection for about 100 years now. They can buy anything they want. Global entities, newspapers, media, global companies. And they truly have become the company store. There's a great video out there. It's the #1 most watched documentary on the internet. It's called Money Masters. And you can go to brunsonforsenate.com and you can see more information about this. Thank you very much for your time. God bless.